I kind of look to the future and things that we can be that we aren't yet, but have that vision. And then the tornado hit and all of that went out the window because we are an awesome community as it is. And, you know, the thing that stood out to me and made me so proud of this community in the past week is the response from the tornado. And it seems like it's presented by the media that Howe came together because of the tornado and the effort was given because of that. But in reality, the people of Howe are always like that. It doesn't take a tornado to make people love each other and want to help each other. We already have Peggy's Porch over here, where you take the clothes off your back and you give it over there for people who need it. Nobody's making any money off of it. They're all volunteers. And that speaks volumes about our community. We do the same thing with the Feed My Sheep program. People who need food, we take care of them here. Nobody's looking to make money off of it. We just take care of our people. So when a tornado happens and everybody runs over there and helps, to me it's not really a huge story because that's kind of who we are. And that's what we've always been here. And that's why I'm proud to be from Howe. We've had a rough 5 weeks or so in our community. We've lost Joanne Thornhill and Lucy Wheeler and Emmy Curtis, and we've had some key figures in our community pass away. And you know, I always wonder who's going to fill those shoes when a relief effort is taking place. You could count on Joanne and Lucy and those people to step up and work. And before all this happened, I was wondering, are we going to have that? Who's filling their shoes? A little worried, but I have no worries seeing those kids on Stark Lane. I know exactly who's filling their shoes. It's pretty awesome to see. The economic development portion, last year, we put together this video. And it was the presentation of Howe and how we wanted to present ourselves to others when we're selling our town. And we spent quite a bit of money putting this video together, hiring a professional company to do it. And then Channel 12 goes out there and interviews our Booster Club president and our junior football player and one of the cheerleaders out there on the recovery effort. And that 2-minute Channel 12 news segment was far superior than any economic development video that we could produce. Because if that doesn't make you want to live in Howe, I don't know what it's going to take, because it's real. And those kids were out there. They weren't instructed to be there. But it was a great showing of our city and the response. So we're going to start giving some awards, and we're going to start with the Volunteer Organization of the Year. Now, volunteering is something that we've been trying to upgrade here in our community. And we have a lot of great people in this community. There for years we couldn't get a lot of people to volunteer in city projects. Well, those days appear to have been eliminated because we have a lot of volunteers these days. I know Donna Wormsbaker with Keep Howe Beautiful and Kurt Beckemeyer, they've done a tremendous job over there getting that program going and have a lot of projects. And a matter of fact, I want to give Donna the mic real quick before we start doing awards, and I'll let her talk about some things that Keep Howe Beautiful is doing. Donna?
I'll talk about him.
Is because of volunteering, and it wasn't something I really wanted to do, but some of you have heard this before. One day it was getting close to baseball season and I exited off the highway and I saw our ball fields and they weren't exactly what I thought they should look like. And I stormed into Mr. Shepard's office and didn't know him at the time, and I probably threw a hissy fit and looked stupid and all that kind of good stuff. And then about a week later I get a phone call that says I'm the president of Keep Howe Beautiful. So that's how that works. And but lucky for me, I've been blessed and it's worked out into just an extraordinary situation. And I appreciate Joe and all he's done in that area. So volunteering, let's get on with the show. Can you bring me the Volunteer of the Year award? Thank you, Jonathan. We are presenting a Volunteer Organization of the Year. In 2015, a committee was organized by volunteers who had a passion and a concern about the historic structure in Howe's downtown district, which is known as the former First Christian Church, that was originally constructed in 1893, just as Howe was in its infancy as a city. The volunteer organization, led by President Gene Norman, held one of the most successful fundraisers in the history of the city, with an all-you-can-eat barbecue, silent auction, and live auction. Their efforts raised over $25,000, and the old church is in the process of being restored as a high-end wedding venue and event center. Maybe next year we'll have it over there. The Volunteer Organization of the Year is presented to Gene Norman and Save the Church.
This is just great. The committee that's worked on this, they've just been wonderful. I wish I could name every one of them right now because it's just been special to try to get something done with that church, and by Gino, we're gonna get it beautiful, and it's gonna serve the city of Howe. And it's been great to have Monty to help lead us through this, and so I thank you on behalf of our organization for this award. Thank you.
How about the New Business of the Year award? All right, the New Business of the Year. In 2015, Howe received someone not only willing to open a business in downtown historic district, but also be involved in the rejuvenation and restoration process that has taken place within the city and townsfolk. This new business became a highly active member in the Howe Area Chamber of Commerce, as well as participating and contributing greatly in fundraising efforts to restore the former First Christian Church. Howe Mercantile has set a new standard and representation in the community by a new business. Your efforts have made Howe a better place. Georgia, come on up here. Howe Mercantile. New Business of the Year.
I'm blown away. I love this town, just like you all do. And I think a lot of times people who come to Texas say, I got here as fast as I could. Well, it took me 64 years. But I got here as fast as I could. Thank you. It's been such a delight working with all of you. This is just amazing. Come shop with us.
Okay, now for the Business of the Year. This long-standing Howe business has had a pronounced practice of providing stability and economic progress in the city of Howe, Texas for over 50 years. The Business of the Year award is given to a Howe business that has demonstrated best practices of commerce, such as sound business planning, fiscal responsibility, and work process innovation in operating their business. The Business of the Year award also honors those who have a unique and keen awareness of their community and exalts those traits that encourage business in Howe. The 2015 Business of the Year, Independent Bank.
Thank you so much. I'm Anna Anderson. I'm the branch manager of the Howe location here. This is Beth Harville. She's my operations manager. The Howe State Bank was built over there in 1964, I believe. I was just a tot then, so I don't remember that, but I don't remember the bank not being there. The present management of the bank, or ownership of the bank, bought Independent Bank in 1994, I believe. Robert, you need to be up here with us. Robert is an Independent Bank employee as well, but he chooses to leave Howe and go down to McKinney to work. He's a commercial lender at our McKinney location on Craig Drive. We are honored to work for a great ownership. Independent Bank, I can tell y'all, we are led by a very Christian-based organization that takes care of their employees, takes care of their cities. And if I am ever instructed to do anything above and beyond anything else, is support your community. Whatever you have to do, support your community. If it has to do with the school or the city, we very seldom ever say no, because that's what our leadership tells us. So we appreciate this. I've been over there, this is my 35th year at Independent Bank Howe, and I can tell you I've enjoyed every day. They have been good to me, they've been good to my family. When I went to work over there, when I was just a young tot, right out of high school, I said I'm going to stay there long enough to find something else. And then when I started having children, I said, I'm going to stay here because I can be a mom and I can work. And they have been good to me, and they've been good to the community. So, thank you so much.
And now for the Norma J. Wallace Citizen of the Year. Now, this individual has been a mover and shaker in Howe for a number of years. She was a volunteer in Howe. She was a volunteer in Howe when no one else would. Her willingness to always care for those in need had pushed her to help start the Feed My Sheep organization that serves as Howe's local food distribution center for families in need. Her tireless work of helping Boys and Girls Clubs, or Boys and Girls Scouts of Howe, and guiding the youth of our community is to be highly commended. The Norma J. Wallace Citizen of the Year Award is designed to reward a person for their dedication to their community and their willingness to help the city of Howe, Texas, by way of unique contributions. The 2015 Norma J. Wallace Citizen of the Year is Carolyn Cherry.
Thank y'all so much. Well, I couldn't, like I said, I got here as quick as I could. I married into Howe because of my husband. So, and my babies are Howe babies. So, it's an honor to have this award. I've heard a lot of history of Norma, and for those of you who didn't know, we lived in Norma Wallace's house for a long period of time. So, I'm honored to follow in her footsteps, and I couldn't do it without Anna and a lot of y'all that have in this community that have given me that inspiration. And so Howe is home, and it's our village that makes it easy for me to serve in this community. And so I'm honored and privileged, and I look forward to serving many years to come. So thank you very much.
This is something that we just recently purchased as a chamber. We will hang this up over by the scissors. It has everyone, all the Norma J. Wallace Citizens of the Year going back to 1985. It's pretty neat. And we already have Carolyn's name on it. Okay. So now we will move into the Hall of Honor ceremony. And last year we had 12 inducted as the first class of the Hall of Honor. We thought this would be something that it would be nice to recognize those who have come before us in this city and done such an outstanding job for leadership in this city. So we inducted the 12 last year. It was kind of the first real event that the chamber had. And it's also a nice way to kick off Founders Day, the whole weekend. And tomorrow is going to be absolutely wonderful. I hope everyone can make it out tomorrow. It's going to be, we think it'll be by far the biggest Founders Day we've ever had. So we had a lot of nominees. We set it open to anyone who wanted to nominate someone for the Hall of Honor. We had votes casted electronically and by paper ballot. We had lots of response. And it was a great turnout. So I'll go over the nominees. It's pretty small print. I turned 42 this week, so. The first one, J.J. Chisholm, and a lot of you know is Mr. Chisholm. He was nominated. And, Mr. Chisholm was perhaps the most loved man in Howe from the time he opened Chisholm's one-stop grocery store in July of 1957. He was called the one-man chamber of commerce as he helped give information to anyone that asked. Mr. Chisholm often ran open tickets for families knowing well he would never get paid. His response was always that he couldn't stand anyone to not have food on their table. Mr. Chisholm was the Norma J. Wallace Citizen of the Year in 1985. Also nominated, Fred Holcomb Sr., served Howe as a member of the City Council and volunteer fire chief. During his tenure on the City Council, Howe installed the central sewer system. He built 54 homes, with the majority of them being in the Howe ISD. He built commercial buildings, including a large shop for Johnny Thompson that later became Price Hanning's garage. He also built the old Dairy Queen building, which is now Polio's Pizza, or about to be. The former Church of Christ building was also constructed by Mr. Holcomb, and he was an elder in the Church of Christ for 35 years. Glenn Heston was a former mayor of Howe and also served as city council member. He was a longtime member of the First Baptist Church, where he served as deacon and part-time song leader. Mr. Heston was a successful builder who constructed many homes in Howe. He was a graduate of Howe High School and was a player on the first official Howe Bulldog football team in 1935. Otis Lamb served as director of Howe State Bank during its conception. He partnered with Lowell Thompson in 1958 to provide much-needed housing for the Howe area. Their good quality and fair-priced homes became the forerunners to the Fox and Jacobs concept. Mr. Lamb's wholesale contacts and banking connections allowed them to open up new houses in Howe that sold quickly. Gene Norman, here tonight, still receiving awards. Ms. Gene Norman has been instrumental in a number of major events in Howe's history. Her, along with her friends, were able to create the Howe Community Library in the 1980s. The longtime school teacher has also been a longtime member and church leader at First Baptist Church of Howe. Her work with the Howe Historical Society had great ambitions and collected many Howe artifacts. Her work helped save the old First Christian Church building twice. Most recently, Norman served as president of the Save the Church Committee, which raised over $25,000. Gene Norman was named Norma J. Wallace Citizen of the Year in 1992. Lowell Thompson is one of many of the Thompson family to make such an impact in Howe. His vision to see growth in the late 1950s provided the city with construction of well-built, quality, affordable homes. Serving as a council member and an active member of the Howe Volunteer Fire Department, it was Mr. Thompson who helped organize and sponsor the Fireman's Barbecue in the fall and Fireman's Watermelon Fest in the summer. He was an active supporter of the Howe Boy Scouts and even helped construct the first wooden racetrack, Pinewood area. His forethought and vision, expanding the borders of Howe with O.W. Lamb, helped Howe grow at an important time in the town's history. Now, in the first, last year, I said we inducted 12 members, Those 12 members were Jabez Haney, the founder of Howe, W.P. Thompson, a longtime mayor, A.M. Ferguson, a grain guy. He was a big grain shipper out of here. Mame Roberts, Charles R. Thompson, Arthur Boyle, Tony Brinkley, L.B. Kirby, Norma Wallace, Ray Bledsoe, Kerry Waller, and Elmer Shank were inducted last year. And now we'll start the 2016 Hall of Honor inductions. Norman Dickey was hired by Howe Schools in 1964. He took a football program that was on the verge of collapsing due to the lack of willing participants and grew it to a district by district and regional championship team just 6 years later. After 12 years of head coach, the Howe Bulldogs, he holds the most wins of any coach who's ever been a head coach for Howe, with 51. After spending time as a coach, math teacher, counselor, interim principal, interim superintendent, 3-time interim athletic director, Dickey retired from the school district in 1996. In addition to his accomplishments, Dickey spent countless hours mowing Bulldog Stadium, working on the scoreboard, running the clock, officiating junior high games, keeping stats, and everything in between. With the induction, Dickey joins other Howe Hall of Honor members from 2015. Ladies and gentlemen, Norman Dickey.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Monty. I appreciate that. I guess I'll kind of tell you how I got to Howe. I was born over in Gunner, Texas, out in the field out there. We didn't go to the hospital. Then a year and a half later, I had a brother that was born, and then 11 months after him, I had a sister born. And so I spent all 12 years at Gunner. Enjoyed. My favorite sport was, if it was football season, it was football. If it was basketball season, it was basketball. If it was baseball season, that was my favorite sport. Graduated. I made a decision out in the cotton patch that there's got to be something better than hoeing cotton. So I decided I'd go to school and not do this the rest of my life. And so I got a scholarship, went to Cisco Junior College for 2 years, played football and baseball in college. And then I transferred from there to Austin College. And I'm getting closer to where I met Joanne. I spent 2 years at Austin College. I played 2 years of football and 2 years of baseball. So I'm proud of the fact that I did get to play 4 years of college football and 4 years of college baseball. That was a highlight to me. While I was at Austin College, I transferred in as a junior, and Joanne was a freshman when that year. And being a football star, and I didn't know those freshman girls or anything. But anyway, we ended up getting married in May the 29th. Is that right? I think that's right. May the 29th of this year will be 51 years. He really is lucky too. And then I'd like to talk about one of the reasons I got here was for the benefit of my family. Joanne and I, we had 2 children, Gary Don. Gary Don played football and baseball at Howe. Then he went to Charleston State University and graduated. Went into the Army, went to Fort Hood in Virginia. Went to, where is Gary? What was it in Georgia?
Fort Benning.
Fort Benning. Gary went to Fort Benning, Georgia, and while there, he jumped out of an airplane 10 times, And the last jump was at night. Then he rappelled out of a helicopter. So, and then after that he went to Hawaii, and he was there for 4 years. And Joanne and I only got to go 7 times. And so, when Gary graduated college, he graduated as a second lieutenant, and now he is still in the Army Reserves, and he is a lieutenant colonel. And he's been to Kuwait twice, Gary, is that right? Three times. 3 times to Kuwait. And then he had 2 children. Michael's here. Michael joined the Texas National Guard, and the middle of his junior year, he went to Fort Benning, Georgia for basic training. Went back the second year, and he was in the National Guard, and then he's going to school, and then his unit got called in. And he spent 9 months in Afghanistan. So, and Michael's going to graduate. He's still in college, going to graduate in December, hopefully. Gary and Michael, appreciate your service. All the others that have been there, we do appreciate your service. And then we have Katie. Katie is still in college. She's got 2 more years. She's going to Texas A&M at Central Texas College. In 2 years, hopefully, she'll be graduating. And then we also, along came Joy. Joy graduated from Howe. She played basketball. She ran track. She helped me keep stats on the sidelines. And she graduated from Baylor University. So we need to kind of practice, about Go Bears right now. Go Bears. And she married Mike, and Mike they live in Diana, Texas. The school's called New Diana. For what reason, I don't know. But anyway, he and his dad have a commercial heating and plumbing air conditioning. Mike, thank you. Remember our deal. We can't take her back. They had 3 children. Jess, back there, Jess is graduating May the 26th from high school. He's a senior. Played football. He's been on the shooting team in agriculture. They've been in different places. Of course, you know who taught him. And then Jess, there was Joelle. Joelle is a freshman in high school, and she was lettered in volleyball. She lettered in basketball. She lettered in softball, and she lettered in track. So Joelle, we are proud of you. She's our athlete in the family. Except the last one is Jess. Jamie. Where is Jamie? There you are. Jamie is in the 7th grade. Going to be in the 8th, we hope. He played football. He played basketball. And he ran track. Hey, he scored a point for his track team at one of the track meets. So, Jamie, proud of you. And now he's playing 7-on-7 football, and he's also playing baseball. Anyway, all of these people are responsible for getting me to Howe, Texas, and I'm very thankful to my family. Came to Howe, and we didn't have a great season that first year, or the second year, but the third year, Harold Finney was a senior. We had a pretty good football team. In fact, we won our first 5 ball games, and I could have been elected mayor, I think. But they wanted to be so. But anyway, we ended up, I believe we got in the district, and we were in the district with Salina. And I tell you there, you had to be tough. We did in 70, I guess was the best year that we had. We were 1-2, 1 win, 2 losses after the first 3 ball games. And then we ended up winning the next 9 in a row, beat Salina 26-0, and went on and won by district and also won the area. So at that time, that was as far as you could go. So far as I'm concerned, we won state. You know, but anyway, let's talk about some of the things. You know, there's a lot of things that the people don't know that happens in football. And I can tell you, talking about one time we were playing Frisco. It was a district ball game. It was up here, and Ray Bledsaw and Willie Yonts were the announcers. I think Ray would do the first half, Willie would do the second half. We're playing Frisco, and it was a close ball game. I think we ended up getting beat like 14-7, but we had the ball, we ran the ball, we just crossed midfield, and it was 4th down, and Willie Yonts came over the microphone and said, "It's 4th down and kicking time." And that got all over me. I wasn't about to kick the ball. We were going to go for it. So, every time that I see Ray Bledsaw, he says it's 4th down and kicking time. Never ask how you doing or anything. You know, and coaches, you know, they're real smart. You know, you try to hide your weak players. You know, and we were playing this team down at Anna, and one of the inductees was on this team, and he was playing, and you know, and they put him 1 week at defensive end, and then they moved him to linebacker, and then they moved to quarterback, and then to safety. Anyway, they're just trying to hide this, you know, try to hide your weaker players. So we looked on film and figured out. We told our running backs, y'all find him and you go towards him. So we're going along and we're running the ball and our halfbacks, and they're going down and they run out of bounds over in front of the Anna bench. Well, it happens a couple of more times, and I call timeout. Hey guys, come over here. I want to know, what is this? Why are you running out of bounds? They said, well, coach, you said go run towards your weakest player. And they said, he's going over and he's hiding behind the bench. So I said, well, forget that. You made a great decision. Forget going to him, go score. So anyway, that was really interesting that happened, finding that weak player. Anyway, going on, you know, in the business that I was in, you never can do anything by yourself. You have to have help. There's a lot of other people that contributed to this: assistant coaches, teachers, parents, athletes, and it was really great to have all this help. And I really appreciate all the friends that I've accumulated now. Got a couple, about 3, I guess. One, Dan Licata, came from Frisco. Well, I say that. He lives I think in Frisco School District, but then he says his address is Little M, and Frisco tells Little M, no, we don't want him, y'all take him. And Little M tells Frisco, no, we don't want him, y'all take him. So I really don't know where he lives. And then 2 guys that I spend a lot of time running around with is Tim Rose and Leon Thornhill. And Joanne said, why are you running with those 2? And I said, well, I'm trying to improve their image. so anyway, we've been to a lot of ball games. Leon and I, we've been doing track meets. We'd go to other towns. I bet there's hardly a school within a 50-mile radius of Howe that I have not shot a track meet at. And been doing that I've been trying to quit. And they have been so great to me. And happy Mother's Day tomorrow. Saturday. Happy Mother's Day Sunday. Thank you, Mom.
A longtime Howe ISD school board member, as well as serving as youth baseball commissioner and coach. He was a volunteer fireman, as his father before him here in Howe. Mr. Bearden was instrumental in bringing an all-weather track to Bulldog Stadium. As vice president of MagnaFab, he provided labor and materials to many local projects such as directional signs in Howe, yard of the month signs, backstops for ball fields, benches for the dugouts. One of his last endeavors was to build a tram for the Grayson County Fair Association to carry the elderly to and from the fairgrounds. Mr. Bearden received the Norman J. Wallace Citizen of the Year Award in 2001. To honor his father, Brett Bearden is here to recognize Jimmy Bearden as the Hall of Honor Award.
Well, I wrote a few words, and I thought long and hard about it. But I did some research on it. It said, try not to take too long when making a speech. It's best to leave your audience before your audience leaves you. I didn't want this to sound sad or like an obituary or a eulogy or anything, but I want to tell you a little bit about my dad. Some of y'all know about Dad, some of y'all don't. I'll start off today, right now. It's kind of a coincidental timing that yesterday was a one-year anniversary Dad passed away from us. And so this kind of come at a good spot for us, as far as the Bearden family. Like I said earlier, I thought about this a long time, and my go-to guy that I go and ask for advice for is not here anymore, so this is what I come with, so I guess it's time to stand on my own feet. But thank y'all for honoring Dad. We appreciate it, and I feel he deserved it. This is a real honor for him. It's good for me, good for Mom, good for my family, good for this town. And I want to be able to tell my, not soon, but my grandkids about it. Not soon, Blake. But for those of y'all who don't know me, I am Brett. I'm his oldest son. This is my mom, his wife of 53 years, Merle King. And like Dad, all my life I've lived in Howe, with the exception of my short time in the military. Let me tell you about Dad here a little bit. He is the true meaning of a certified, bona fide Howe Texan. Dad was born in a little white house right over here by the old middle school. So he was born here in Howe, Texas. He would have died here in Howe, Texas if we had a hospital, so that's something you need to work on. So I got about 4 more decades, I hope. So get us a hospital here. He was born right over there behind the Mason's Lodge here in 1941. His parents were Erskine and Ann Bearden. They lived here all their life too. My pawpaw did, I know. Grandson of J.W. Bearden, one of the founding members of Howe. One of the founders and constructors of the Christian church right here behind us. Dad went to Howe School, played sports. He played for Coach Bull, who was already inducted into the Hall of Honor here. When Howe reinstated the football program, they got a bunch of guys together. I see one of his teammates is here, Mr. Norman. Isn't that right? They played, had a 4-4 record in 1958. Dad was quarterback, he got all there, and then they had the all-century Bulldog team. Dad was pretty proud of that. But the most important thing that probably happened to Dad was whenever he was in school here, is he met my mom. And if you know anything about the way the town's built, you know it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this out. They had one school, the old middle school here, and you can stand out by the flagpoles and you can look at school. Off to your right to the north, Dad's childhood home. Off to the left, Mom's childhood home over there across the street. So they lived less than 100 yards from each other, so I guess you figured that out. Mom was a majorette, Dad high school quarterback. You can't really get much better than that, I guess. They were married January 12th, 1962, right after Mom got out of school. After high school, Dad worked full-time. He attended college over in Commerce, and what's now Texas A&M Commerce. He's got a bachelor's degree in business, in accounting, and a master's in business. May of 1973, Dad had got his job in Bank of Howe Southwest, where he later was promoted to Vice President and General Manager of the company until his retirement in 2010. Also at that time, Mom worked there, office right next to him. They couldn't get away from each other, I don't think. Dad was involved in many of the things that Monty already said. He was on the fire department here, which my papa was on the fire department, and then later I was on the fire department here for a short time. League commissioner in baseball in the 70s and the early 80s, and I remember somebody else helped him out with that, with the concession stands, right, Mom? He coached several baseball teams. Everybody here around my age or Monty's age played for a Bank of Howe team at one point in time. I think everybody's got a t-shirt that says Bank of Howe on the back of it somewhere. You talked about the all-weather track, and I remember the day we put the first fence up down at the ball field down here. I couldn't have been 5 or 6 years old, I don't think. He was a member of the Howe ISD Board of Trustees, where he served as president of the board too. And he took a real interest in the school here. He believed in a good education for people. Bonnie also talked about some of the things he built. He built the drum major stand, which I know he didn't have dementia or anything, but every time they brought it out at halftime, he had to remind everybody sitting around him that he built that drum major stand at the football field. And all this doesn't sound like much to people who've never done anything like this before, but serving on the school board, serving as league commissioner, and doing all these other things takes a lot of time. I mean, I remember him getting home, school board meeting nights, 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning sometimes. I'm like, what do these people talk about till 1 o'clock in the morning, I couldn't understand it. He was on the Chamber of Commerce. He was a member of the Howe Athletic Band Boosters Club. And he was a supporter of a bunch of local fire departments here, not only Howe. He was also a life member of the Texas Association of Business. This also reminded me of something that happened about 10 years ago. I got invited to a convention down in Dallas with ambulances and fire trucks. And those of y'all who know what Dad did, he did custom sheet metal fabrication up here in Memphis. Well, I said, hey Dad, why don't you go with us? So, I don't know what he wore that day, because I know he wasn't feeling good, but he wanted to go anyway. I think he wore a pair of overalls or something. So we go down there to this convention, and I'm visiting with the people from Fraser Ambulance. They manufacture ambulances down in Houston, Texas, and they're one of the top-of-the-line ambulance companies in the United States. So there's Dad. He's talking to the president of the Fraser company. And the guy was like, look, who's this guy? Wasn't taking him seriously or anything like that. And Dad was kind of chewing him out about the way they make the back bumpers of their ambulance. Because we have some people who work for the department that I worked for at the time that didn't know how to back an ambulance up. They'd run into trees, telephone poles, and you better get out of the way. But Dad would fix their bumpers. So Dad was sitting there explaining to the guy what was wrong with his bumper. And lo and behold, next year when we bought our brand new Fraser, there was a bumper. It didn't look like the previous years. It looked like the ones Dad explained to him. The last thing that Dad really took an interest in, he was one of the founding members of the Inspiration Point Cowboy Church out there with Brother Dwayne Peters out there in Top Eight. May 15th, I get the date right? May 15th at 11 o'clock, they're having the first annual Jimmy Bearden Gospel Singing. So if y'all want to go to that, you can show up out there. It's on FM 3356? 2729, okay. FM 2729 out there in Tomlin. And other things about talking about Dad and Howe, Texas, he loved this town. I mean, all my whole life, those of us who you grew up right behind us. Joy, I know you heard about it, how everybody we went to school with, I want to get out of this town as quick as I can. As soon as I graduate, I'm going. Dad stayed. He loved this town, and I could never, ever remember Mom or Dad ever discussing about moving anywhere. I think they were kind of mad at my brothers for moving on, too. I don't know. There's a couple of little sayings that Dad used to tell me that kind of stick with me, that give me comfort from time to time now. He used to tell me, son, this too shall pass. Whenever I was feeling discouraged or I was having some problems in my life or something like that. And he would also tell me that God will never give you more than you can handle. But I, feeling overwhelmed, and I kind of keep those with me now. And I kind of try to live by that. And I want to let these people that are here tonight, I'm not going to try to inspire you. I want you to look at these people, Coach Simmons and Mr. Dickey and Miss Norman and everybody else and all these previous Hall of Honor people. We have some examples before us of people who were good at a bunch of stuff. I mean, like Dad, good in business, good in church, good in the community, a great father, a great family man, a great husband. We want to try to be good at, everybody can be good at something. So take something in your life, say, hey, I'm going to be the best I can at it. I think I found my calling as a paramedic, trying to help people. I try to be the best I can at that. I can't follow in Dad's footsteps because I can't do everything I can. And I'm not going to try. But everybody, let's try to be good at something. And let's take that away from tonight. Listen to all these people talk.
Let me see if I can get through this. He was my coach. Steve Simmons came to Howe in 1987 as a coach for Howe ISD. His motivating nature has inspired a couple of thousand kids and adults to be highly motivated, truly dedicated, as well as rough, tough, can't get enough. Perhaps no one in Howe's history has held so much pride and love for their community and our children. He has served as an elementary physical education instructor for Howe ISD for nearly 30 years. As well as his work with children, he's also been a varsity football coach, powerlifting, and a baseball coach, and junior varsity basketball coach. As a longtime member of the First Baptist Church of Howe, his faith is unquenchable. It is only a matter of time before something in this town is named Steve Simmons something. Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Simmons.
All right, Marty, let us all start off now. It's a lot of feeling here, a lot of feeling. And I'll start off with, I've been getting the Bulldogs ready for our track meet. My voice is kind of stressed a little bit. Y'all know where my Bulldogs at? They're all around here. Y'all know what's at. My mom's side of the family, my dad's side of the family, my mom and dad, the roots of our family go back in the state of Georgia. However, I was born in Jacksonville, Florida because my dad was a Korean War veteran and in the U.S. Navy. And it was in 1955 when I was born in Jacksonville. After a year, we moved back up to Griffin, Georgia, which is where they were from, south of Atlanta. I lived in Griffin until I started kindergarten. After I started kindergarten, we moved to Atlanta. And I went to Atlanta through the 7th grade, and my dad surrendered to preach. He was a Baptist minister. And he came to Fort Worth to go to the seminary. And I went to Rosemont Junior High my 8th grade year. And one thing that I wanted to do everywhere I moved was to play football. That was the most important thing to me to do, was to play football. And that's what I did. And then after that year in 8th grade, we moved to Blue Ridge. What a difference from Fort Worth to Blue Ridge. You know, from concrete streets and red lights and to pig pens, you know, to learn how to do all this agricultural stuff, working with the hogs and the cows, and then playing football. Was playing 8-man football. But I loved it, and I even, in Fort Worth, I had a bad experience. In big school, I kind of got swept under the rug. I didn't get to play any, but I was on the team. So I got to Blue Ridge. I asked the 2 girls in my church, I said, does everybody get to practice here, at least practice? They said, yeah, everybody gets to play here. And sure enough, we only had 12 people on our first football team, and I was there. I didn't get to play that much even as a freshman, but I was on the team, and the next year, a little bit of development, more kids came out, and I started on a team that went 10-0 and went to a regional championship. And after that year, we moved back to Griffin. And during that spring, I went to a 5A high school. I went to their spring training. And I really liked it. It was very interesting. And you could play football all year round. And then and during the summer, my dad told us that we're going to move back to Blue Ridge, which I was excited about that, to be back with my friends. Came back to Blue Ridge my junior year. And in my senior year, my dad took the church in Anna, First Baptist Church, and we moved to Anna. And I played my senior year at Anna High School. And that was interesting. Norman talking about that story a while ago. I was thinking, that's just about the time I was playing in Anna that he was telling a story about running at their weakest player. So I don't know exactly what was going on there. But I did play at Anna, and we did play Howe. And he was the coach. In my senior year, I had a coach named Howe Porter, and he was inspirational in me becoming a coach. And he was inspirational. He was also the reason I played at McMurray University in Abilene, Texas. That's where he had played, and he worked it out where I got to go there and play. And I played 4 years at McMurray, and I squeezed my 4-year degree into 5. And it was a little time to digest that one. And lo and behold, my 5th year, when I should have already graduated, I looked across the cafeteria, and there was the answer to my prayer. She was a freshman. I was a 5th-year senior. And I was so glad then that I did not graduate on time. Because my wife, Doreen Villa Simmons, from Albuquerque, New Mexico, is a legend. She is a legendary. She's beautiful, she's talented, and absolutely, totally devoted. As a wife and as a mother and as a Christian. God answered my prayer. And we went on a date, and I told her we should have just got married that night. Because it was just a relationship that when we came together, and this July, it'll make 38 years we've been married. We got married, and I started my coaching career at Van Alstyne. After I was there a year, we went to Chillicothe for 3 years, and while we was in Chillicothe, on June 11th, 1981, God answered my other prayer. And we had a baby son. We named him Paul. And I'm glad that he got to be with us tonight. And in June 2013, Paul married Randy Jackson Simmons, and she is from North Carolina, to expand our family. And they all got to be with us tonight, and I'm so glad they're here. And I love them dearly. You know, coached at Chillicothe 3 years. And then we went to Salina for 5. But this is where I'm going to start telling you my Bulldog story. First, I want to recognize Monty for what he's been doing for this community. He was a rock-solid football player and outstanding linebacker for us. And as I have mentioned before, his highlight tackles were bone-jarring tackles, and they're still in our highlight films. He was an outstanding football player and an outstanding baseball player, and both those organizations had trophies in that trophy case because of him and the other Bulldogs like him. And he played for the love of Howe in his heart. And I appreciate Monty. Thank you for everything you've done. Now, I think Monty mentioned a while ago, Mr. Haskell was on the first football team in 1935. And in 1935, a photographer was taking that picture of the first football team of Howe, and this is, I think, Janie told me the story. But he asked him, "What's your mascot?" And went on and picked up a bulldog and said, "Well, I guess we'll be the Bulldogs." Well, you know what? That's a unique way to get your mascot, but it couldn't have been a better one because it represents our community of Howe. Toughness, devotion, and heart of a Bulldog. And I first became introduced to that Howe Bulldog toughness when I was a senior at Howe. In the first game of the year, we did play Howe at Howe. We came down here, and I was sitting in the locker room prior to the game, and in came the Howe head coach, Norman Dickey. And as I sat there as a 17-year-old football player, I looked at him, I said, "Norman, where you at? Put your hands over your ears for just a moment." I said, "Man, that guy looks like a real football coach. He sure does look tough." Man. And I found out that his football team played like that. They beat us in a close game, and that was the only game we lost the whole season. And the thing that they left the residue, that impression I had of the Howe Bulldogs were, they're tough. They were tough. Well, after I got out of college finally and graduated, I started coaching at Van Alstyne. And our arch rival was Howe. And we came down to play Howe. We jumped out to a 14-0 lead. And I started watching the same Bulldogs dig in and start pounding away. And they were relentless. They would not stop. And they ended up beating us by 2 touchdowns. And when I left there that night, I thought, as I looked out on the field, watching them do their post-game, whatever they were doing, I thought, they're tough. Howe's tough. And I was impressed with Howe, and I was impressed with their toughness. And then I went to Chillicothe for 3 years, kind of out of the area, and I came back to Salina for 5. And during that 5 years at Salina, we played Howe every year. We beat them twice. They beat us 3 times. And every time I'd come away with that same impression, how tough those kids at Howe are. And I kind of wanted to coach at Howe. That was one of the schools that I thought about, maybe someday I'll be a coach there. That's ironic, isn't it? Well, then my 5th year, we had a coaching change. And that coach wanted to go a different direction from me, and I wanted to go a different direction from him. And things worked out. The door opened up. And I ended up at Howe, and I was so excited. And my teaching field was going to be elementary PE. And I was excited about that. Put it down, Mike. I was excited about that. I thought elementary PE, now that's exciting. Because 9 years I've been in the classroom teaching government and history. Well, now I'm going to teach elementary PE and coach all day long. So I came over to Howe. Coach Fryer was head coach. Jimmy Bearden was on the school board. Norman Dickey was an administrator. So I was surrounded by good people. Came in here to Bulldog Land. I could not have been more excited. But I knew I was going to be coaching elementary PE, and I'd never done that before. I hadn't worked with elementary children. So I went back over to Salina and talked to the elementary PE coach over there, Kathy Mangel. She was an undergraduate too. We sit down on Kathy's back porch, and I sat down and I said, "Yeah, we We can do a little of this and that, put them in lines, have some games, some exercises. Everything was real good. We started getting a little bit lower down the ranks to the younger dogs, and the more younger they got, the more she talked about in-depth things and how to work with them. She got to the first graders, and she spent about 15 minutes talking about first graders, and I listened and I formulated it in my mind. When she got through with that, I said, well, kindergarten's like first grade, right? And she gave me the most serious smile, and she just nodded her head. I said, Kat, it can't be that much different. Then she put chill bumps on. She went. Now I wondered, how am I going to do this kindergarten thing? So anyway, hey, we're going on, we're moving. And here we go. Football started, scrimmages are going. First day of school coming up, and I mean the first day of elementary PE. Had 5th grade, 4th grade, nothing to it. Got in line, got to doing things. 3rd graders, got some little whippersnappers in there, and y'all better pay attention. Then we had lunch, and I always have had the kindergarten class at 12 o'clock high noon. Well, this was the first 12 o'clock high noon. This is like a John Wayne movie. High noon. And I was kind of like, what's it going to be like? So there's 4 kindergarten teachers, 4 classes, and there was close to 80 kindergarten students. And we had, the inside facility was 2 classrooms with a wall knocked down. One door was an open and closed door, the other door was a swing door. It automatically opened and closed on its own once you pushed it open. I thought they were going to have them in line. I thought they were going to all be sitting there quiet with big little eyes looking at me. And they're going to come here and introduce coach, and then they were going to leave, and I was going to start working them into a little activity. I walked down that hallway, and that door came flying open. I thought they were having a fire drill. The teachers were coming out. They were coming out there like a fire drill, one after another. And the last one said, I think it was Darlene Arnold, she goes, they're all yours, coach. And man, inside, I tell you what, it sounded like a riot. And I walked inside the swing door, and it was carpet, wall-to-wall carpet kindergartners. And they were everywhere, bouncing, jumping, yelling, hollering, doing everything. And it was like the Mason-Dixon line. Y'all go ahead and answer. It might be one of my kindergartners coming.
Time's up.
He's one to talk.
I walked in and folks, I didn't know what to do. I did not know what to do. It was like the Mason-Dixon line, halfway point of the room. All the girls over here, all the boys over here. I could see those girls, they had ponytails, I could see the hair going up and down, they were bouncing. They were constructed, they were finding things to do, they were having a good time. The boys were fighting. The boys were fighting here. I was trying to get in the line. I said, you just get over here by the wall, you sit down right there. And that little boy was looking at me, I said, you're going to the office. Turned around, I said, come here, 2 little fights. I said, y'all get over here. You're going to the office too. I just started catching them. I felt like I was fishing. I was putting them by the wall. I was trying to think, what am I going to do? I kept looking down there, see all the hair, ponytails bouncing around. Thank goodness they're not fussing and fighting. And I had this little boy, he's crying. I said, what are you crying about? He goes, I want to go home. I said, I do too. I was stuck. In the military, we call this jumping into a hot LZ. There I was, surrounded. Buck Rose, I was in the bush. So anyway, oh man, I'm telling you, it was a rough day. You know, there's a quote in the Bible where Jesus says, as lightning flashes from east to west, it's pretty quick. But I can tell you, he could have said, as gossip goes from the elementary school to the football field, across the town of Howe. Because by the time I got to the football field that day, the coaches up there were all having a good laugh. And I got out, and Alan Ross, if you know Alan Ross, he was a singer. And one of the boys that put on the wall was his little brother. And he goes, hey coach, I heard you sent my little brother to the office today. I said, well, yeah, I did, and a whole bunch of others. And I kept thinking, what am I going to do tomorrow? You know? So I pulled out of that driveway thinking, I'm not going to be back doing this next year. This ain't going to work. if I'm gonna be in Howe, I gotta go to high school. I'm gonna tough it out for this year, but this don't work. So anyway, I go back, and I don't remember what all went on and transpired. And by the way, that first year I didn't have an 8. I was by myself. I was in there, it's me and Bill, and you know, second grade and first graders were a challenge, but this kindergarten, I had to get a handle on this. So I looked at games and I studied these things to do, and I'd go in there and I'd try to do a game, and I'd say, all right, I'm going to play squirrels and trees. My little ones know what squirrels and trees is. And back then, they'd hold hands and make a tree, and then the other ones would run in and out and be a squirrel. And sure enough, they start holding hands, they start pulling and fighting. Okay, here we are again. Fighting again. And so I found another game. Finally found a game where they get in a circle. I give them a color square. I call it the color. They run around the circle back to their spot if they get back to their spot. And I said, this game's pretty good because at least I got them sitting down in a circle. Sometime after a week, weeks, or whatever, we were playing the game of colors. I stand in the middle of the circle. And I don't know how I got the idea, but as I looked at them, chewing on their little color squares and all that kind of stuff, I said, you know, I was still in Marine Corps Reserve at that time, and I said, Coach is a soldier. And they looked at me. They looked at me. I said, I'm what you call a Marine. Okay? They're listening. Unusual, but they're doing it. I say, you know what? In the Marines, they teach us what discipline is. Can you say the word discipline? And they said, discipline. I said, that's pretty neat. I said it, they repeated it. Okay, got their attention. And I said, you know what? They taught us in the Marines that when we stand at attention, we have to stand straight. And we cannot move. And they nodded. They were with me. We were communicating. We were just on a bond. I said, because we have, and they went, discipline. I said, right. I said, one time Coach was standing straight at attention, and a big old horsefly. I made it sound good. A big horsefly landed right here on my face. And they were looking, and I said, and that horsefly started biting Coach. But I didn't move. And you know why? And boy, I mean, right now, their eyes were on me. And they go, I said, because I had, and they go, discipline. And I wanted to make it good. And this is the truth, but I wanted to make it good. Because they were more aggressive. They probably went home and watched science fiction movies and stuff. I said, and that horsefly started biting Coach, and I felt a little drop of blood going down my cheek. And their eyes got big. And I said, but I didn't move. You know why? Because I had discipline. I said, all right, we're going somewhere. Where am I going? I don't know. I said, okay, Simmons, you got me. You better not blow it down. I said, I'm going to count to 3. And when I get to 3, I'm going to see which bulldog has the most discipline and sits the straightest with their hands on their knees. 1, 2, 3, discipline. And they popped up like this, and I said, I got you. And I got you. 1, 2, 3, discipline. They hear that, they stop, drop, and look at Coach, and sit up straight. Then I said, if you do that, whoever does it best is going to get an H. And the birth of the H took place. And what's an H? Well, for a kindergarten, I had to think of something. I said, you're sitting straight. Look at Heath. He's sitting straight. He's got an H. Look over here. Joe's sitting straight. He's got an H. And they're like, what's an H? So we had these mats, these 4x6 little gymnastic mats, and they're stacked on top of each other on this cabinet. And we always say they had a 20-minute milk break. And I let them watch TV while I have a milk break. Well, if they got an H, they got to sit on top of the mat. That's Mount Olympus now. So if they get an H for doing something like sitting straight, listening to Coach, doing a good roll, oh man, that was it. Then I said, okay, whoever walks down that hall the straightest, because I'd be at one end of the hall, their class was at the other end, and that used to be a track, about a 30-yard dash track. There we go. Every day I sit them, because they didn't have nobody on the other end. And they'd be loud, and I said, I'm going to give Joseph an H because he went all the way down the hall straight yesterday. Well, their interpretation of straight wasn't walking in a straight line, but walking straight. And they walked like this. And I said, that's wonderful. Their hands are to their side. They're behaving. You do that. And I gave H's. And we started bonding. And I mean, me and those Bulldogs started bonding. And you know what? We bonded from kindergarten through the 12th grade. We bonded every year. And the next year, that Howe devotion came to me in the form of mom. Actually, she was my second aide. The start of the year, I had an aide, and she left. And then here she came, Judy Finney. The Howe devotion. And Judy was my aide for 11 and a half years. For 11 and a half years, she might as well have been the mother of Howe. Because she was the backbone of our program. She was the motivator of the motivator. She was the one that kept me going. She's the one that kept them going and kept everything together at that school. And I tell you what, I am so proud that God brought her into my life, especially here at the town He brought me to. Thank you, Judy Finney. We shared some great times together, and the next year just got better. The next kindergarten class came in. It's kind of ironic. The next year, I thought I was all ready for it. We're going to play colors. We're going to sit down, and in the middle of the circle, we're going to tell them a discipline story. We're going to start off, and what you know, right when they were sitting down, and they all had their little colors, and they were already looking at me. And I knew what I was going to do. The door opened up, and Miss Borland, our principal, and Miss Arnold, a kindergarten teacher, longtime kindergarten teacher, they brought a little boy in, and he was a stout little rascal. He was a good-looking little boy, but he was a thorn to fit. And I'm talking about, I'm surprised we didn't have sound like a siren going off or something. He was screaming and crying, and Miss Borland looked at me and said, well, now. So then I walked over there, and I took him by his wrist, and Miss Borland took off, and Miss Arnold took off, and she looked back at me, and she says, he bites. Right now, she said. And I had his wrist, and he was going, and I'm going like this, you know, like. Then I told Miss Payne, who was starting off the year with me, I said, play the game, Miss Payne. And she was already playing the game of colors with the kindergarten on first day, and I'm over there holding little Thomas down, thinking, will this kid ever get tired? Will he ever stop? And he was kicking and yelling. And I said, well, they did good. You know, the kindergarten stories and so many stories. And Judy came. We had 11 and a half years of those stories. It's been absolutely incredible. And Judy's devotion, you know, is a lot like the community of Howe. That bulldog toughness, that bulldog devotion. And I can tell you when Jimmy Bearden, when I went to Jimmy and I told Jimmy, you know, I was having kind of a hard time with them little ones when I first got hired because he was on the school board. He said, you wait till the football game, they're going to run up to you and they're going to be hugging you on their leg, and you're never going to leave them. And you know what? Jimmy Bearden was right. Jimmy's a smart man and a very wise man. Because they nailed me. They moved into my heart. And I tell you what, I look across here and I can see them, still my elementary Bulldogs, my former Bulldogs. And this community, this town is so into my blood. I'm so into this town's blood. We're so one. But every year, it's been 29 years. I'm sure it's been about 2,000 plus Bulldogs that my life has been connected to, and their parents and grandparents and everything else here. But I know about the heart of this town. And I know when that tornado hit just a week or two ago, and you went out there the next day and you saw 100 Howe Bulldogs out there that knew exactly how to spend their day off in school, and that was out there helping those victims. Man, that is heart. That is Bulldog heart. That is Bulldog pride. And that's what this community is. And we have charities and we have fundraisers. I am always amazed at how much money comes in. The people of Howe respond. The people of Howe care. We have faith in our Lord. We have American values and traditions here. And we bind together. No matter who we are, what we are, when you're in Howe, you're a Howe Bulldog. And it's time to pick up and get that Howe toughness and move forward. And I'm so proud to be a part of this community. I'm so proud to be a part of all these children. Every single one of them have moved right here to my heart. A lot of your children and you yourselves are right here in my life forever. And I can tell you that from that first football team to 1872, is that when Howe's founded? The Bulldogs of the past, the Bulldogs of the present, and the Bulldogs of the future will always be highly motivated, truly dedicated, rough, tough, can't get enough. We are Howe Bulldogs, and this town is going forward, and I'm proud of everybody in here that's taking it that direction. Thank you, Howe, Texas. Surrounded by Bulldogs. Safe.
I will tell one very quick story. We were in by-district championship with Salina, and we were tied at halftime. And we had no business even being in the game. We weren't as good as Salina, but we made the playoffs, and we were playing them. And Coach Simmons at halftime. Imagine having that guy as your coach at halftime giving you talks. That's why a team that had no business winning ended up winning, because of that kind of pride. But at halftime, he had got this balloon, and he was telling us this story about how we're going to win and how we're going to do this. And I don't even remember basically what it was, but I do remember that he had a balloon in his hand, and at the end of the speech, he went and popped that balloon. And we all hit the ceiling. We were ready. Then I got to thinking, how did he do that? Was he Superman or something? How did he pop the balloon right on time? And he told me he was practicing with it for about 10 minutes before he gave that speech. Hey, listen, I really appreciate everyone being here tonight. I'd like one more round of applause for our nominees and our awards winners. Every time we do this, it's so much fun because we as a city need to do this. We need to recognize those that come before us, honor those, get together, have a good time. Like tomorrow afternoon and evening, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. at Founders Day. I really hope you'll come out. We have a lot of things going on. We have food. We have over about 60 vendors. We have Touch a Truck event going on over there. Mr. Rickmeyer's going to bring some of his machinery over there, and we're going to set that up, and we'll have fire trucks and everything else over there. All the money that we raise from that is going to upgrade our parks. We'll have combines, tractors, antique tractors, things like that. Downtown area, like I said, there's going to be food for Founders Day. There's going to be a horseshoe tournament. There will be a domino tournament, 42 tournament going on in here. There'll be a lawnmower race. We'll have that. Live music all day long, everything you want. I'm telling you what, if this Founders Day isn't the best one we've ever had, we just need to stop doing it because it should be really, really nice. Mr. Dickey.
Hey, Donna, one thing that made Howe beautiful is Rose moved to Tom Meade.
All right. With that, we will close this thing up, but we need to give some door prizes. Robert, do you want to pull this one off? Sure. Robert Kennedy.
All right, hopefully we can follow those tough acts. It's some free stuff. So this is from the post office from Leandra. Everybody's got their tickets out. This is number 0732631.
I got it.
Come on up, man. Give me your awards. gift basket from Howe Mercantile, or Mercantile, sorry, Mike. This one goes to number 0732672.
Okay, you're setting something up here.
This one is from Cheryl Bentley, brown bag special of some sort. Sparkling out the side, that's what I think it is. And that goes to 0732639. You open first. This is from Howe Mercantile again from Georgia. This goes to 0732633. This one's from Mama Susie's. She also provided the food tonight, so we thank her for that. This one goes to 0732642. This one's from Brett Jones, again from Howe Mercantile. It goes to number 0732652. And one more from Georgia at Howe Mercantile. Number 0732671.
Hey, I just want to say thanks again for everybody. That's our program this evening. Thank you again to all of our nominees, inductees, those that received awards tonight. Thank you all for coming out. Please enjoy yourself. Mama Susie Sweets and Eats. She's got coffee and mini cupcakes. Help yourself. Have as many as you want. I don't need them here tomorrow. Thank you all. And can we get photos of all the inductees' families before you leave real quick? Thank you very much.
Those are strawberries. These are pineapple coconut. Here's one right over here.
It's great to see y'all.
Yeah.